Up and running. Okay. Going to continue with the fishes. All right, I want to start laying in some moss and stuff growing on these branches. So I have Hansa Yellow Light, a little bit of Phthalo Green mixed in with that, and some Titanium White. And that might have to go a little bit more yellow with a little bit more white because it's blending into that green background. We got to get it to show up. That looks pretty good. I'm just kind of laying in some bunch of moss and stuff happening on this branch. Obviously, moss starts growing on things underneath the water. Using a number 8 flat brush. Now the light is going to come in from this direction. Actually, no, I got it coming in from this direction. So it's still coming in from above though, so that part's going to have some highlight on it, and this back here will have highlight on it. Getting my wires crossed here. Need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So we'll have some mossy stuff there, all along here. Now, you could almost say like some shadows coming down from this other branch, so I might put it down to here and then leave this portion here a little bit darker. All right, something like that. Now, as it comes down around the tree, obviously less light's going to hit it, so I'm going to add more green. Putting these strokes in real quick, real rough. And I'm not taking them quite all the way to the other side of the tree yet because I want some reflected light on the bottom side of the tree branches. No hard edges, so kind of morph this into the highlight color you put on there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to put in, I was going to say turquoise, but I think that'd be a little bit too strong. So let's put some cerulean in there. Cerulean blue. Same old dirty brush, because I want that color that I already have kind of mixed in with it. Let's add some quinacridone. What is this color called? Quinacridone something. Oh, quinacridone violet. Yep. Quinacridone violet, and cerulean blue. A little bit of neutral gray. Let's see how that looks. There we go. Give us a nice, maybe a little bit too much violet. More, need it more on the blue side. This is what we call reflected highlight. And I'm putting in on these nice mosses and stuff. I don't want a hard edge. This is like, this moss is nice and fuzzy. So, for lack of a better word. So that's just how I'm kind of painting it. Still looks a little bit too purple to me, so more blue. Let's add a little green into that too. Maybe that's our problem, not enough green in with that. There we go. That might be better. Seems like this stuff over here is way too purple. Knock that back a little bit. All right, we kind of got the mossiness laid in now. Let's work on this fish that's down here at the bottom a little bit. Now I want to start laying in some darks. So let's get some Prussian blue out. Kind of want to start laying in the markings and the patterns on that fish. So I'm going to get a smaller brush out here too. And this brush here is so old, but it's a smaller angled brush. But I'm going to start laying in some dark areas, especially like where the mouth of that fish would be, the eye. And then we can kind of start basing everything else off of that. I'm going to add some cerulean blue to this. I don't want it to be so dark. So we got cerulean blue, raw umber, and Prussian blue. And I'm just going to go in here and start putting in marks for those little patterns. And they kind of go in rows. And I'm just going through here and putting it in real quick, the little marks. Got kind of a dark circle thing under the eye here. Kind of defines that eye. These are crappie, in case you were wondering. Need a little bit more separation between these. There we go. Looks a little better. Now this design on this fish kind of starts getting bigger and more varied as the in the middle part of the fish here. So some bigger markings on that. He's got a fin right here that you can you can almost see through the fin. Let's go ahead and get this bottom fin kind of shaped in where I want it also. Back tail. Okay, then now that we got everything kind of placed, we'll figure out some more markings here. Something like that. It's almost the same color as the highlight on the moss up there, the greens in this fish. Okay, I'm making the color less bright, more green as I work my way down. Just kind of establishing where marks and stuff like that are on the fish. Doing kind of short, choppy downward strokes just to kind of imply later on these will, the highlights and stuff I put on there, these will show through, and this will kind of imply scales on that crappie. Okay, so we got kind of got that fish laid in back there, hidden. That's looking pretty good. Now let's work on this fish up front here. Kind of start to lay in the markings and everything on that one. Nice big round eye. We'll put highlight and stuff on that later. Then we'll lay in where the mouth is. Fins. Dark markings there. Okay, we got that bottom fin. Just trying to lay in some landmarks is what I'm trying to do, so we know where to put all the markings that go on the fish. Fish paintings look real ugly when you first start out, but once you get more and more on them, they start coming together pretty quickly. All right, and then you got all kinds of markings on his tail coming up the back here. Those markings I want to be a little less dark, coming up his back, more gray colored. These fish almost have kind of like, I don't know, segmented parts on them. So that's kind of how I'm trying to paint it. Let's see. Got kind of a gill or something right here coming out. Okay, let's keep going with these marks. They're almost kind of random, but like in a pattern too, like they're going, following the curve of the fish's body. So we're just going to keep going around this way, and he's got some marks right there. Just kind of looking up at my reference photo and putting these in real quick. There we go. Now we basically got a pattern marked out on the fish. Now I'm going to take some of that Hansa Yellow Light, titanium white, and mark out where my highlight would be hitting the fish. I need to wipe this brush off a little bit. It's getting too muddy. My highlight is not showing up. Okay. Later on, I will switch to the warmer colors, and we'll get some of these colors to stand out proud. But for right now, I'm sticking to cooler colors until I get all of this, everything laid in and looking right. what I'm doing is I'm just marking in between these dark marks I put on, that yellow and that titanium white, and I'm just kind of dotting it in there. I'm not covering up all of my background because it makes it look like scales protruding from, kind of lifting out from the body. Adds another dimension and detail to it. And you can do it real quick and it still looks like you spent all the time in the world putting them on. I mean, you can see here how quickly I'm getting this done. Okay, I'm going to move over here and get like some light on the edge of this gill here. I'm moving around the painting because I don't want to get too patterned looking. I guess you kind of want it patterned looking since you're laying in rows of scales, but you also drive yourself nuts laying in all them rows all in at once. So I got to move around and keep my mind occupied. All right, as I go down, I kind of want to start getting that into shadows. I'm going to add some cerulean blue to it. Cerulean blue really didn't come across in my reference photo, but I don't care because it will add to my painting depth and more color and everything like that to my painting. So that's how I'm going to roll with it. Short, choppy strokes because it ends up looking like scales. Unless you got an area like on the underbelly where it looks like the scales are smoother, you can kind of smooth it out a little bit. Like right in there. That, and it's going down and under, so it's at a different angle to your eye. You're not looking straight at them. All right, let's look at put a little dark in there too. We're going to have some Prussian blue, some of that quinacridone violet. Let's try some of that. Just kind of come in here. Add some of that in there, like there's a shadow down there. There we go. Kind of morph some of them hard lines in there. All right. Back to phthalo blue and raw umber. This fin down here needs to have some more shadow on it where the two, basically where the belly and the fin meet. That will help me define the roundness of my fish. Looks like I also need some more. That fin actually comes up here a little bit more. There we go. All right. Okay, I think we're going to let that dry for now and come in with another session later, but we kind of got the detail on the fish laid in, so we can kind of figure out some more stuff later. And the more we add in, the more it's going to come alive. Till next time, Christ is King, pain is out.